Welcome back to part 5 of our discussion of biblical context concerning pre-rapture, which the rapture is midnight, when the Lord of the house comes, Mark 13:35, beginning at eventide, which eventide to midnight here are the terms to uphead the all, according to the mystery, Ephesians 1, 9, and 10. Where in this video, I want to talk about the relationship of the podium to what I talked about in the last video concerning the angels in the figure of fire. So Paul says here in 2 Corinthians 5:10, for to all, key word, it is binding to be revealed to us in front of the podium of Christ. When he says here, to which he practiced, whether good or malicious, points to the resurrection in John chapter 5. Note the context is the judgment authority, where Jesus says, do not marvel, since the hour, anytime you see the word hour, think of the watch times, because these encompass the concepts of hours and terms. So here, the hour comes in which all, key word, all who are in the sepulchres hear on his voice, and those having done the good will go out into resurrection of life, but those practicing the malicious into resurrection of judgment. So good and malicious. So the podium back here concerning all of which he practiced, whether good or malicious, is pre-rapture. The resurrection that Jesus just explained is pre-midnight. So we will stand in front of the podium to give an account of our works, which takes us to 1 Corinthians. Beginning here in verse 13, Paul said, the work of each will become revealed. Hence the podium. For to all it is binding to be revealed in front of the podium. So the day will make it obvious because it is then unveiled in the fire. And the work of each, what kind it is, the fire will examine it. So here, this word examine, basically, it means to scrutinize or prove, or approve something. To prove or approve something by examining, which the work determines the reward or the loss of the reward here. So the fire of the figure of fire here shows also that these are angels that are examining the work, beginning at eventide. Because remember, there is the out-resurrection, or the up-loosening of the angels who come with Christ, which is much, much more better. So those who are approved to even examine the work of others come prior into the reward. Where this reward here specifically are those who will come in here at midnight. So the gold and the silver and the valuable stones is the favorable position which would correspond to the mystery, where the fire that will examine it are the angels. And if anyone's work abide which he dwell built on, he will take the reward, which is taking the crown of life here at the rapture. Then if anyone's work will be down burned, he will lose the reward. Here, shut out of the wedding, but he will be saved, but so as through fire. So there's still saving here. So we will stand in front of the podium of Christ before the rapture. This is the point. When Christ comes, we're not all just raptured immediately. The first ones that will come into the wedding feasts are those at eventide, according to the uploosen of Luke 12:36, which is the out-resurrection. Notice when we come back to John chapter 5 and we back up, here Jesus speaks of those who do not come into judgment, who have stepped further out of death into life. Where here again, the hour comes when the died ones hear the voice of the Son of God, and those hearing will live. For as the Father has life in himself, thus also to the Son he gives to have life in them. So these step further. This is the out-resurrection here. Here. They hear the voice of the Son of God because they will be sons of God, sons of the resurrection, Luke 20:36, where then when you come down here, also then he gave him the judgment to do authority, in contrast to those who do not come into judgment. So here again, the judgment to do authority can be favorable for gold, silver, and valuable stone, according to the podium, where here again the good and the malicious are both mentioned. But the point being, this is all before the rapture. The dead have to resurrect to stand in front of the podium before the reward is taken for those of the gold, silver, and valuable stones. So the podium judgment begins in the terms to uphead the all, between eventide and midnight, where the wood, grass, and straw works are shut out here, according to the mystery, and then they conclude and will be saved through the fire here. This is the scorching mentioned in Hebrews, near the curse. This is the curse. There is no blissful are those for the fourth watch time mentioned. Okay? So this is post-rapture here, scorchingness, but bringing forth thorns and 3 sprouted ones, third watch time. Ensnarements that will come in the third watch time. Unapproved, where Paul says, give yourself approved to God as unashamed, to give stand by as pure virgin. So near a curse, whose finishing is into scorchingness. So this scorchingness finishing are those who will be saved, but as through fire. Again, 1 Corinthians 3:15. They will lose the reward here, but then they will take a reward here. So the point being, though, is this is all pre-rapture according to the reward of gold, silver, and valuable stone, which all will become revealed, for the day will make it obvious. The day of the Lord Jesus Christ, when he comes beginning at eventide, the terms to uphead the all according to the mystery. Pre-rapture.